Hello, I'm Karina.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is a brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge. Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people, we're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
Welcome back to As Told by ADHD, or if this is your first time, hi, I'm Jamie. That's Karina. Or that's Karina. I don't know what side you're going to be on. But this week, we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories, part 2. And it's Karina's turn.
It's my turn. And I did a disclaimer last week, but I'm just gonna do it again. Usually how our episodes go, we pick a topic and then we do research on that topic. And then when it comes time to record, we do a dice roll, choose even or odds, and whoever gets whatever the dice is on goes first. But Jamie had some stories that tied together, so she has been going in that order just so that they can overlap properly. And so that's why I am going this week. But usually we do things a little bit different. But
we're so glad you're here. And I like you. I don't know. It's been a long day, my guy.
We're glad you're here. And
we're so glad you're here.
And
we're
it's
so
nice
glad
to meet ya.
I'm just so glad that you love learning as much as we do. And I'm glad that you're here to listen. And
curiosity
Yay.
is piqued. And now we have new friends. So we tend to, or at least I do, I feel like, tend to circulate a lot of my stories around World War II. But that was such a crazy time
it really was.
in our history. There, of course, war, right?
Uh-huh.
It was absolutely insane. Everybody was at each other's throats, but everybody was also like worn out from like the First World War, and it's just, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But during World War II, that's when everybody was like hyper vigilant when it came to making sure that they were ahead of everyone else, or everybody was trying to catch up to everybody else. So there was like intense secrecy. There were advanced and very quick technological advancements. Like people were just trying to get ahead. They wanted to have the best bomb. They wanted to have the best aircrafts. They wanted to have the best submarines. They wanted to have the best shit. They wanted to have the best. Each country was fighting to have the best of something or bombing a place so that they can take it. That's usually how like war goes. So, the story that I am going to talk about, the conspiracy theory I'm going to talk about, has a little bit of all three. The secrecy, technological advancement, experimental warfare, all of that stuff is tied into this particular story. And it is the story of the USS Eldridge. Have you heard of it?
I'm assuming it's a ship.
USS Eldridge, yes. It is a ship. So the story...
That's crazy, we both did ships.
I know. But like it makes sense because like the most unknown is the ocean. And I feel like a lot of conspiracy theories evolve around the oceans, mysterious disappearances and stuff like that, space. Like those are the two areas where the most conspiracy theories just...
Mm-hmm. Okay, side note, little tangent before we get into your conspiracy theory. Have you heard about Gerald the dolphin?
No.
Okay, so there's this dolphin, and actually it's a bunch of dolphins that kidnapped a man and took him underwater, somehow was able to make him breathe, forced him to build a little city at the bottom of the ocean, and then let him come back to the surface. The leader of these dolphins was named Gerald, and and he came back, like the guy came back. This happened in Florida, by the way.
Oh, makes sense.
And and he like came back and he was like severely sunburnt. He was really disoriented. And like they tested him for drugs. He had no drugs in his system. They tested him for alcohol. He had no alcohol in his system. They tested his lungs for something. I don't know what they tested him for, but apparently there was like debris from the bottom of the ocean in his lungs. It's crazy. I don't know what's happening. I think it's a lie, but I
What
think it's
in the
really funny.
world?
And they also told him that they're going to come back and get him for phase 2.
I don't think dolphins can hold their breath long enough to actually enjoy the city that's in the bottom of the ocean. Like, what?
I don't know. It's so funny.
That's crazy.
Anyway, I thought that you would enjoy that. Ocean.
That's wild. That is definitely conspiracy theory. That's insane. That is insane.
Yeah. That's happening right now.
That's insane.
It like happened like from when we were recording this, it happened like last week.
That's
he just
wild.
like showed
I need to get on that side of TikTok, obviously. But today's story is known as the Philadelphia Experiment, and USS Eldridge became the subject of one of the most famous military conspiracy theories in modern history.
Okay.
So, there is an alleged scientific breakthrough that happened, and there was a witness who shouted the story from every rooftop they could scream from for decades. So the USS Eldridge, it was also known as DE-173, was a Cannon-class destroyer escort commissioned by the U.S. Navy in August of 1943. Its purpose was pretty straightforward. It was supposed to escort convoys across the Atlantic Ocean during World War II, its goal was to protect them from U-boats, from German U-boats, to be precise. At the time, naval warfare was undergoing an arms race, a technological arms race. One of the greatest threats to ships were torpedoes and magnetic naval mines, which detonated when they detected a magnetic field of a ship's hull. This threat led to the development of a real and widely used technology called degaussing, which is a process that would later become central to the conspiracy theory that I'm talking about today. So just remember that, degaussing. So according to the legend, the U.S. Navy initiated a classified secret program, sometimes referred to as Project Rainbow, which the goal was to render ships invisible. How they employed Tony Stark.
They just have a giant mirror attached to the side of the ship, and so you can't see it because you're seeing a reflection of the ocean.
Exactly. Or, well, yeah, they have to make them invisible to those mines I was just talking to you about, the magnetic naval mines, because they would detect the magnetic force that ships use for like navigations and stuff like that.
So
and they would explode. So how would they make it invisible?
They stopped using metals and they only used woods, and now they look like
they went
medieval
back
ships
to their roots, y'all. No, they didn't.
Okay, let me. I got a couple more guesses. Okay. So they put like opposite magnets all over the ship. Like, it was just, like, a ring of magnets, but, like, in the opposite direction. So, like, if the magnet tracer tried to look at it, it was like, oh, the magnet's over there.
Oh,
I don't think that's how
smarter. No, but it's like, do you know how smart it would be if they had, like, these magnetic, like, decoys that they would, like, shoot out in the water, like, as they're traveling to see, like, if there's mine bombs?
True.
I know they had submarines, but, like,
yeah,
I feel like that'd be cool.
I got one more. I got one more guess. Okay. So they somehow made it where the ship isn't in the water; it floats above it.
So a blimp?
No, it's still a ship, but it's like right like this far above the water, so you can't find the magnet in the water. I don't think that's
No.
right at all.
No. No, not at
I
all.
tried. I tried.
So, the goal was not radar stealth only.
Mhm.
They wanted to have optical invisibility as well. They wanted to bend
Okay.
light, kind of like how you were saying in your first theory, around the vessel so that it couldn't be seen. Okay?
So mirrors everywhere.
Lots of mirrors.
We're
And
putting
the
mirrors on
hull is made of
everything.
wood. And they used light to direct them in the directions they needed to go instead of magnets.
And they put magnets
Right?
everywhere,
And
pointing
then they
in
put
all different directions.
anti-magnets everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anti-magnets
Everywhere.
is the opposite magnets.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
That's how they
fixed
did
it.
it.
I fixed the issue. We can move on.
So, in many like retellings, I guess, of the story, the concept was tied to Albert Einstein and his unfinished unified field theory, which attempted to mathematically connect gravity to electromagnetism. So, mold those theories together and see if you can like manipulate
Okay.
stuff. It was just a theory. It was never tested. It was one of his things that never got tested. It was just like one of those theories that are thrown out there. But allegedly, Navy scientists believe that they could manipulate electromagnetic fields to such an extent that they could distort space-time itself and essentially cloak or even teleport an object.
Are they talking about time travel? Is that what they're trying to do? They're trying
To be
time travel?
optimally like how can you be more invisible than
If
like
you're not
popping in and
there.
out when you need to? Yeah.
You're the most invisible you can be is not even there.
Yeah. And they could do it, allegedly. Allegedly.
Hell
Allegedly.
yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, hold on. So, question. Is
Mm.
this more of like this is classified documents, right? So is this the theory or is this fact? Or is the theory coming from inside the house or outside the house?
The theory was kind of forced out of the house a little bit, allegedly. I don't really think they truly believed that they could do time space travel. I do think that people were very anxious to see, especially following Einstein and his theories, testing that out. So I think that they may have tried something, but it wasn't like space time travel.
So I guess my question is this theory coming from someone who worked on the project or the government, or is this coming from
So apparently
somebody
this
who's like
comes
saw it?
from a witness that saw it, but the government had to respond.
Okay. Of course
So
they
that's
did.
why, yeah.
That
So
makes it more suspicious because if they responded, that means there's something
don't be
there.
suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. They were suspicious. When the government responds, it's usually pretty suspicious. So, suspicious. In theory, the part that's not true, but in theory, if they wanted to try to pull this off, the ship would have to be fitted with massive generators
Magnets.
and
Oh.
and electromagnetic equipment that was designed to
Magnets.
create a super powerful, like they needed like have you ever seen The Flash when the generators explode, like the little quantum like generator thing explodes and stuff like that type of power.
Okay.
They needed a very powerful field. And when it activated, this field would allegedly refract light around the ship, making it invisible, and possibly interact with gravity in unpredictable ways because they didn't know. They just had the theory.
So they were above the water. All my theories are coming together.
So what allegedly happened. I'm saying it a lot because when you say stuff about the government, you just gotta allegedly, 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 allegedly. According to the most famous version of the story, the experiment took place October 28th, 1943, at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Witnesses, which was actually just one guy, claimed that when the invisibility equipment was activated for a test run, a strange blue or greenish glow like fog surrounded the USS Eldridge. So, radiation? Blue light?
That's just so funny. It's
That's
like
where the Demon Core
witnesses, just
was.
one guy.
The witnesses was one dude.
Oh, one guy saw it, but witnesses.
So he saw this fog, and then the ship vanished. Poof.
Okay.
Goodbye. The accounts, one person, claimed that it disappeared entirely from sight, leaving just like a faint outline or like little disturbances in the water. And he goes further, stating that the ship was instantaneously, I don't know how he knew this, but apparently some person told them that they saw the ship, okay? This guy's crazy. We're going to kind of get into him a little bit later. The ship was sighted for a split moment in Norfolk, Virginia, which was over 200 miles away. And then it just, poof, goodbye, popped right back into Philadelphia moments later. Just reappeared exactly where it was.
So who is the second person that saw it in Virginia?
We never know. Nobody else ever comes forward.
That's suspicious. Okay, side note, it sounded like the witness is having a medical emergency. It sounds like he's having some type of absent seizure.
So
And
I have a theory, but I want to save it towards the end.
Okay.
I do have a theory about him. So the most disturbing and almost grotesque stories of the aftermath of when the ship reappeared concerned the crew. So, according to his claims, sailors suffered horrifying consequences.
I thought you were going to say constipation.
Jamie, get your head out of the gutter.
Listen, okay. I heard horrible and I was like, constipation?
No, consequences.
Okay, what are the consequences?
He said that he heard the screams and the shouts of people saying that some of the soldiers were fused into the metal structure of the ship.
Okay.
Some alive, some dead.
I think he might be schizophrenic.
With the only visible parts of their bodies being their fingers, elbows, legs, and feet.
So now it's like a ship-human hybrid?
Yeah. Which,
with
that's a common theory, because if you look at... There's only dirty fingies sticking out. Ew, it was JP Morgan. Allegedly. No.
Allegedly.
So
she's dead by this point.
But still. But I will say that when it comes to theories and TV shows about time travel or space time travel, a big thing that you see from something as funny as SpongeBob SquarePants when the time machine happened, and then other stuff, they can fuse together. People fuse together. It's because your atoms, your body is at a certain vibration. Your atoms are moving at a certain speed. And if you, the reason that I'm not falling through my chair right now is because my chair's atoms are moving at a different speed than my body is moving. So, it's saying, if you are in the same vibration, that things can, start going through each other. So, it's
Okay.
a common theory with
Right.
time travel or space travel that fusion can happen because you're moving at the same time, and everything else around you is moving differently.
But that would make me think that, if, let's say this did happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that the steel ship vibrates at a different frequency than human flesh. So wouldn't the humans get merged together and the ship is now like all twisted and shit?
It just depends, because if time travel means that the object that's being transported have to be at the same vibration while everything else is in a different vibration. Like, it
Okay.
means it's changing your body and the ship to be at the same vibration while everything else is moving around you. So, I mean, I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
Yeah. So, people were fused to the ship. Those who weren't fused to the ship went completely insane almost instantaneously.
And this is
And
still all
there
coming
were,
from the same guy?
yes, and there were some
Cool.
people who were vanishing in and out of existence. Like, their body just never stopped, like, kind of going here, there, in and out. Like, they're just
Okay.
stuck in a cycle of fading in and out of existence, and then they said that, or he said that some even just disappeared in general. Like, they phased
Okay.
in, out, and then they were just gone.
Okay. So if that happened that fast, how does he know all of this?
He saw all of it. He saw, and everybody was shouting and freaking out. It was crazy.
I think this man's schizophrenic.
So now we're going to talk about the guy. The guy's name is Carl M. Allen, but he also had a different name, which is a little bit confusing. He was also known as Carlos Miguel Allende, but in the mid-1950s, Allen began sending letters to a UFO researcher named Morris K. Jessup. Allen claimed that he had witnessed the event while serving aboard a merchant ship that was nearby. Allen didn't describe the event like super eloquently. He was just like it was more like a letter of like a concerned citizen. He wrote about it like he was just like trying to explain something that he couldn't really understand. It was like kind of just like gibberish, but it was like written in a letter. At one point, he simply stated that the ship became invisible and then it reappeared again. Later on in the letters, his tone shifted into like a worrisome tone where he said that if you decide to look into this, Mr. Jessup, I suggest that you use extreme caution. So he warned him as if the knowledge itself carried like a risk. But yeah, like I'm not saying that he didn't see the ship, because he was able to describe the crew and what the ship said and like all this kind of stuff. But he the way that he was talking was like almost alarming, like saying, there's another direct quote. It said, "Men became stuck fast in the bulkheads."
How does he even see the bulkheads?
He's a merchant shipment. I don't know. Like, this is the thing. Like, he said that he heard a lot of
Okay.
commotion because, like, obviously people were freaking out if this alleged experiment went horrifically wrong, right? And he's on a ship that's allegedly nearby. So who knows, right? This guy could have been on shrooms. I don't know. But in addition to the letters, Alan sent an annotated copy of Jessup's book that he had previously published. And Jessup said that the book was filled with just like chaotic notes. He had different inks, so he was writing in different times. He was referencing what he saw to the alien technology that Jessup was theorizing about in his book, and just was like constantly like cross-referencing what he saw. So the experiment with things that Jessup has questioned when it comes to UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. So, pretty much what I'm saying is that this man, like, was erratically, like, writing to this person who he thought would be the only one to, like, really be able to listen to him, and it was later investigated because that's, like, a pretty insane claim, and investigators discovered that Allen had quite the reputation for being an imaginative soul, and also an unreliable soul. So even his own family said that he was like a master leg puller. Don't know what that really means, because that's kind of like a really big lie to tell to huge lie to tell. So what does that mean?
Okay. What if this actually happened? And he's like, "For real, guys, I promise this happened." And they're like,
The
"You lie constantly. We don't believe you."
Yeah, cried wolf way too many times. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay, but I don't
Um,
think you saw it.
I don't either. And it was said that the ship wasn't even in Philadelphia during this time.
Okay. Where was it?
So it was actually said in government documentation that it was conducting sea trials and training operations, including a shakedown cruise in the Bahamas during this
Okay.
time. So it was supposed to be in
I'm
a completely different country at this time.
I believe the documentation.
If because there's a lot of written documentation about where ships are. There's
Yeah,
also like
it
people
has to
write
be.
letters and stuff, so there's like postmarks and all of this stuff that
Mhm.
can really like back it up. But
Imagine you're one
it
of
could
the
have
crew members.
teleported there.
True. Imagine being one of the crew members on this ship and then you hear this and you're like, "We were literally in the Bahamas."
Literally. But it shook the world enough to where, like, this was a really crazy time. So, I mean, I don't know, like, it shook the world enough to where, like, this news spread so quickly that a response had to happen, and I know that gathering documentation takes time. It's not as fast as like calling somebody, getting somebody to fax you something, email you something, scan you something, like stuff like that so you can have like that documentation a lot quicker. So I don't really know the time frame of when the government like responded, but even after all of this and this was starting to become like a huge nationwide like story that everybody knew about, no other witnesses ever came forward with verifiable evidence. So while the story of invisibility and teleportation is not supported whatsoever by actual science and physics, there was legitimate naval technology that was around to make them invisible, which is what I was saying earlier, degaussing. So what that is they would run electrical cables around the ship, around the hull of the ship, and that would generate a magnetic field that cancels out the ship's natural magnetism, like you said. But it's not, it was like
I told you.
electricity, not like
I'm
yeah,
so
but it
right.
wasn't like actual magnets that was just going whoa, 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 whoa,
Ah, it's so
So
nice being right.
this process does not make a ship invisible to like the human eye or anything, but it makes it invisible to the magnetic mines that were like a huge problem. Um and so they were able to safely navigate the seas and not get blown up. During World War II, though, this technology was widely used and often involved visible wiring and electrical systems. So like you could literally see it wrapped around the ships and stuff like that. But to someone who's completely unfamiliar to science, this is my theory. This man is a merchant, like fisherman or some sort of logistics guy, right? On a ship. There are technological advancements happening faster than most people's brains can comprehend,
Mhm.
right? I do believe that he saw something that he literally could not comprehend, right?
Okay.
But he could have had like an underlying something that made it worse, like
Issue. Yeah.
schizophrenia or some sort of
Or
hallucinogenic mental or brain deformity of some sort that could have really messed with him. So it's just like our brains are constantly trying to make sense of what we are seeing
Mhm.
by making the assumption of something familiar first
Right.
because that's just what's easier for us to understand. So if he's observing from a distance and they're having experiments that he's never seen before, of course it's going to look mysterious or supernatural or whatever. They could have had a bright electrical like effect of some sort because it was like their first time trying out like a ship with this magnetic technology or electric technology or something like that. Like he could have seen something, but his brain literally did not know how to comprehend it. So the dramatics on top
I
of probably something underlining.
I would believe that or agree with you if you had not told me he's a known liar.
Well, that's the thing too, is that like could he have been a compulsive liar or leg puller if they didn't understand his like maybe an underlying mental problem or deformity?
True. I don't know. I think
Because
you can
if he's
easily,
known for
like,
saying stuff that's not there, like what if they call him a master leg puller because he saw something, told them they saw something, nothing was there. So they're just like, this guy. Like, don't believe anything
yeah, I mean,
he says, you know?
yes,
They're
but
theories.
yeah, that I mean that could be a good theory. But also I think at a certain point, cuz like if you're seeing things, you would see things when people are with you, right? And you'd be like, "Oh my god, do you see that right there?" Or like, like I think that somebody would have caught on. Been like, "Oh, something's wrong with him, not he's not a liar. He's like seeing things, but he's not okay." You know? So I think it could be like, "Hey, this person told me this," and maybe it, like, slowly started escalating to, like, bigger and bigger and bigger lies, and then they're like,
Like, it
"Okay."
just got way too out of
Right,
control.
right.
Yeah.
Just wants attention
In the end,
maybe?
I
I don't
do
know.
think that this guy has a problem,
Oh, yeah. What that problem is,
but
we don't know.
exactly. We'll probably never know. But, like, that's the end, and that's, like, pretty much my theories, like, on what could have, like, happened, like, what this man could, like, see. But it's the last or I guess it was kind of like the first thing I read about it before, like, introducing, like, myself to the story. It said that, like, the USS Eldridge is the ultimate case study on how myths are created. It like because it emerged, like,
Right.
the degaussing and stuff like that, that emerged during such a crazy time. It was
Mhm.
such a wild time in history. A lot of experimenting was happening. People were seeing things they had never comprehended before. Like was just it was just all
Yeah.
happening way too fast. So that's that. We've talked about this before a little bit. Like somebody from like if teleportation was real and somebody from the 1600s were to plop into 2026, they would go insane.
They would probably be really
Like,
scared. Well, I think it
yeah,
depends on the
they would like because
personality.
their brain cannot comprehend what they are seeing. Like, imagine somebody from the 1600s, like rural 1600s, pops into like a big city. Where's a big city? Like New York
Chicago.
City
Oh,
or Chicago.
I'm thinking about pizza, sorry.
Their brain might actually just shut down. Like, they might actually die or go into a coma because their body's trying to go into self-preservation because their brain literally cannot comprehend what is happening. And so their
And it's
brain's just
probably
sitting there
so much
trying to, like,
louder.
find familiarity, and they literally can't, you
Mhm.
know? So, I I think that during this time industrial revolutions like coming like all this stuff is happening and some people are just still like so sheltered they just don't know how to like make sense of what is happening at all.
Mhm.
So
Maybe. I don't know. I'm more
that's my
inclined to think
theory.
he was, like, fully lying because he probably read something about the degaussing thing or heard about it somewhere. Maybe he overheard some military people talking about it, and he saw that ship at one point, and then he was like, "Oh, ships can be invisible, crazy," and then he just made it up.
What if, because like, sailors, like, often went into, like, bars and stuff like that? What
Mhm.
if they were talking about it at a bar, like, saying, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna be, like, invisible to those, like, well, whatever they're
Mhm.
fighting, whoever they're fighting against," right? And he was already kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because he went to a UFO specialist that wasn't a government personnel. He was just an author that had some theories, and he heard invisible. He was like a merchant ship. He was just like, "I saw this ship one time. Okay, so I have a name." They said they're gonna make their boat invisible. 'Cause, I mean, I'm sure they said that. Like, I'm sure they
Right.
said that. Like you said, what'd you say, about the Titanic? It was practically what? It was practically
Unsinkable?
unsinkable? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, "We're gonna be practically invisible," but he was just like, "Invisible?
Invisible?
Invisible?"
Invisible? Ship's invisible?
'Cause they are every a lot of people think, and, like, I'm inclined to believe to a certain extent, everybody thinks the government is doing some sketchy stuff.
Right.
Like, sketchy as in, like, trying to figure out time travel when they probably shouldn't or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
I don't
We
necessarily
still
think
have
that they're working on that, but, like, who
Mhm.
knows what their
We still
what their
have
dirty little
n
fingies are in.
They're dirty little fingies. We still have no idea what's happening in Area 61.
Is it
Yeah,
61 or 51?
I thought it was 61. Oh, Area 51. Crazy. Area 51. We still have no idea what's happening in Area 51.
No, we don't. We have no clue whatsoever. So, people still hang out over there, though.
Yeah.
They try to
Do you
watch.
remember do you remember, like, when everybody went crazy in, like, 2021 and was like, "We're gonna rush Area 51."
And they've rushed it, of course, the front gate, and then
And
they,
then and then they stopped and they were like, "Uh, what do
"Oh,
we
I'm
do?"
not ready."
Yeah. I thought that was
But
funny. I was like, the
2020
disease
times,
2020 times really messed
it
people
messed some
up.
people up. Mhm.
Some people
It
went
messed people up.
crazy.
Mhm. They really did. Oh, water sign. Oh,
I'm all out.
dang girl.
I was thirsty.
How, did you like my conspiracy theory?
I think that's really funny. And I think that guy has issues or had
I do
issues. I'm
too.
sure he's not alive anymore.
No, no. But there's still them folks out there who
I'm
believe some
curious
crazy stuff.
I'm curious if we like research him, if there's any other random things that he's like said publicly that just hasn't been connected to this yet. I want to know how crazy this guy was.
I wanna know if people, like, reference him when they, like,
Mhm.
when I think of, like, a conspiracy theorist, I think the people who think, like, insane stuff, not something that could possibly just be a theory, but, like, there's, like, a whole different level of theory over here where you think that, like, people are actually superheroes, like, have magical powers or, like, are from the past or, like, something stuff like that, you know?
Right.
Those conspiracy theories, I wonder, like, theorists, I wonder if they, like, hold Carl, like, up on, like, some sort of, like, pedestal or something like
I
that, like,
doubt
as a
it.
reference, kind of like how Carl saw Jessup, you
Yeah.
know, the UFO specialist, so
Yeah. I'm sure that there are people, maybe not, because I've never heard of that guy, so I don't know.
the only time I've ever saw something that my brain could not understand is when I was living in, like, a super rural area. I drove to work in a more rural area, and so I was driving home on this highway that just had no cars. You could see every star in the sky. It was, like, almost completely dark, so it had, like, some of the sunset lights still up, and I saw, like, a flash of green, like, in the sky, and my brain was just like, "What did I just see? Like, what is that? Like, what in the world is that?" But when you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of air pollution and it doesn't have a lot of like city lights, like artificial lights and stuff like that. And there you can actually see things that are happening in space that you haven't looked into or you have no knowledge of. So found out it was just some natural space star
Mhm.
stuff. It was
Yeah.
fine. But like when I first saw it though, I was just like, because I was driving behind somebody too, and they called me, and I was like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, I saw that." Like, "What is that?" And so we looked into it later, and it was just, yeah, it was just some normal space
Stars doing
activity.
some fun little dances in the sky.
Mhm.
Little
Sure
starry
thing.
dances. Hell yeah. Wow.
So,
That
what are
was
you
a good
guys gonna
story.
do? Nice. Oh yeah, I liked it. That was a fun one. But what are you guys gonna do nice for yourself this week?
Yeah.
What's it
What are you
consist
gonna do?
of?
You gonna tell us?
In the comments? Maybe?
Yeah, in the comments.
Do you want to know in the comments?
Tell us.
We, like, wanna have a conversation with you guys, you know?
Yeah. I don't
Like,
know if you noticed, but I reply to everybody.
yeah, and, like, all the comments we get on, like, our shorts and stuff, yeah, we tend to reply to as many people
Mhm.
as possible. Like, if
Mhm.
it's, like, response, like,
Right.
worthy, if they have a question or, like, a quirky fact or, like, something that they brought up, but yeah, so
Mhm. Yeah. And sometimes we get some really cool information.
oh my gosh,
And
I'm so curious still.
I know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. They don't know.
They don't know. They can watch our shorts though and find out. So
Yeah, go read all our comments on our shorts and see which one we're talking about.
and be sure to like and subscribe. We also have a little notification bell down here if you want to like turn it on. And we post every Friday, but it'll let you know like when our videos have gone live. And other than that, I guess we will see you guys next week.
Mhm. Remember to
All
drink your
right.
water. I'm out,
Yes.
so I gotta go get some more.
Yeah.
But you drink your water and
Mm-hmm.
then have a great day, a great week, great month.
And a great month, hopefully. But
Hopefully things get better.
hopefully things go smoothly.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Love it.
Bye, guys.